Um, Let me take this out for a second. It plugged into my charger. Okay, we're live. How exciting. Hi guys, welcome back to another video. I'm so excited for this one because in today's video, we are discussing thoughts, emotions, and free will. I don't know why it seems a little bit slanted. That's gonna bug me. Okay, better. We're going to be talking about thoughts, emotions, and free will. I'm so excited for this one. If you guys want to send in comments, questions, I will be answering them after I talk about the topic for today. If you are new here, hello, welcome in. This is Athena's channel where we talk about wisdom, mental warfare, and practical reasoning. If you're just now joining, I will be answering questions a little bit later on, but for this one, I'm so excited because the topic is about something that is very big in the manifestation community. And on this channel, we talk about how to manifest effortlessly and what that looks like. What I have been researching a lot lately has been on the topic of free will and also how our thoughts, emotions, how we create habits, how all of that comes into play when we are controlling our thoughts, emotions, and using our free will. So let's just get into it. Oh, I'm so excited. Okay, I've got my coffee here. I will be taking sips because that's necessary. I hope you guys are having a great day. Hi, how are you? How is everyone? I hope you guys are doing well. It's kind of cloudy over where I'm at. Um, Let me know where you guys are from. I would love to hear if you guys are like international or if you guys are, in the States, wherever state you guys are from. Yeah, just let me know. So we're gonna be talking about Bay Area. Oh, how fun. I love the Bay Area. Yeah, that's a good spot. Um, California. Cool. So we're going to be talking about thoughts, emotions. Oh, Los Angeles. Yes. Los Angeles. I love people in Los Angeles because that's where I'm at too. Okay. So the reason why I'm creating this video is because, oh wait, Germany. That's so cool. I love Germany so much. I went to Oktoberfest a couple years back, but Oktoberfest actually changed my life and I love the people there. So hello to you. Okay. So we're going to talk about free will, and one of the main reasons why I wanted to talk about this, thoughts, emotions, and free will in this video is because there might be this misconception, and there's still more research being done on this, but Neville Goddard, in his book, he's talked about, he's talked very in depth about magnetism, right? He's talked about magnetism. He's talked about electricity and friction. For the longest time, we thought that it was only one way, right? And I'm trying to find it in here. I only got to, so this is, I'm reading in The Power of Awareness where he talks about free will. There's a part in here, I think it might be in one of his other books, where he talks about electricity. And for the longest time, we thought that friction that electricity was brought on by friction, but then we found out that it was the other way around too. And I've mentioned this in a video. I've done a whole video on this already, so I'm kind of just reiterating what I said before. But yeah, I can't find it today, so I was like, you know what? I'm just gonna talk more about what Neville Goddard has to say about free will. But anyway, the whole idea is that your thoughts and your emotions, excuse me, your thoughts and your emotions, not one is leading the other all the time. So I wrote this down. Hope you guys can see it. It's A times B equals B times A. We know this in standard math, right? This is what we've learned in probably middle school or high school, I don't know. But A times B equals B times A. So your thoughts, right? Because a lot of people think just change your thoughts, right? Just change your thoughts, that'll change your emotions. But we've also discovered that your emotions can change your thoughts. So it's not as if one is just always leading the other all the time. This is why meditation is so powerful because when you meditate in the morning, you're automatically raising yourself to an emotional state that doesn't allow certain thoughts to even come through. Um, it's very fascinating. When I get into consecutive days of meditating, I've noticed that the thoughts automatically shift. I don't need to fight my thoughts. I don't need to like suck it back or try to change my thoughts or argue with my thoughts, go back and forth, because I'm already in an emotional state that lead me to think certain. I only have access to certain thoughts, is what I'm trying to say. So A times B equals B times A. Your thoughts control your emotions, and also the other way around. Your emotions control your thoughts. So, a good example of your thoughts controlling your emotions: when you are thinking something and you're thinking it over and over and over again, and it's becoming a dominant thought, it will cause you to be in a state of being that resonates in in a vibration that is either positive or what we would deem negative. So let's look at this, right? We've got all these different ranges of who you could be, all of these different potentialities. And based off of what you are thinking, you have certain emotions. You are led to do certain things. And emotion is just energy in motion. That's all it is. If you are thinking to yourself that you just want to haphazardly do something, or you're not, like, you're always doing something, you are always being driven by emotion. No matter what type of goal you're trying to achieve, you are always being led by emotion, even if it's neutral. And honestly, for me, I think that I manifest the most things, in my experience, I manifest the most things when I'm in a neutral state. It's after I've felt that excitement, it's after I've felt all of the different possibilities of having that thing, and then I'm in a neutral zone. Sometimes I forget about it. Sometimes I don't even remember that I was thinking about that thing, and then it manifests. So let's talk more about this. Um, a good example of thoughts and emotions would be like, oh, I'm thinking about going to the store. I would like to buy groceries, right? I would like to buy groceries. So then your emotions would lead you to take action, and you would go to the grocery store. This is just a very simple example. Now, emotions being the forefront, right? Your emotions are leading you to different thoughts, would be an example of, oh, okay, you know what? I feel hungry. My body is physically telling me that I'm hungry. My emotions, I'm feeling it. I'm feeling that I'm hungry. So because I'm feeling that I'm hungry and I'm getting signals from my body, then thoughts arise, such as you need food, you need to do this, X, Y, and Z. So these are just two examples that you can use. They're very simple. I understand that. They're very simple. But when you start to think about thoughts versus emotions, they go hand in hand, and it's not like one thing is leading the other. Also, through meditation and just my experience, my life experience, and let me know how you guys feel about this too. I've noticed that, well, this is just what I think. I am not I'm not my thoughts. And I'm also not my body. I'm the operant power. So I view myself as consciousness putting awareness on everything. And even when we start looking at different vibrations, even if it's a negative one, or we feel depressed or we feel low, whatever the case may be, you are still the light. You will always be the light. You never cease from being the light, because even when you're in a sad mood, you're shedding light on the bad mood. Like, you're putting your awareness on the negativity or whatever it may be. It's very fascinating, right? Like, you will never cease to not be the light. You'll never not cease to be consciousness. So I went a little bit further and I asked Chat GPT. Have you guys used Chat GPT yet? It's it's pretty good. I like it. But what I asked Chat GPT is, what comes first? I asked, which comes first, feelings or thoughts? And then Chat GPT, they responded, they said, the relationship between feelings and thoughts is complex and can vary depending on the context and individual experiences. It is difficult to definitely definitively determine which comes first in all situations, as thoughts and feelings often influence and interact with each other in a cyclical manner, meaning the A times B equals B times A. So it's like this cycle, it's this consistent circle that's always influencing each other. On the other hand, emotions can also influence thoughts. When you experience a strong emotional reaction, such as fear or anger, it can shape your thoughts and perception of a situation. In some cases, thoughts can trigger emotions. For example, if you receive disappointing news, your initial thought about the situation may lead to feelings of sadness or frustration. So, I found it interesting that even the AI is like, hey, we don't quite exactly know that. There isn't enough research. But yeah, I mean, all in all, they're both working hand in hand. So, how is this going to help you with manifesting what you want? Why am I even saying all of this? Because when you grasp that, hey, you don't need to associate your thoughts with yourself, it's not actually who you are. Your thoughts now, your dominant thoughts, those are the ones that are manifesting, right? But your thoughts itself, those aren't necessarily you. You can receive thoughts. Um, you can transmit thoughts to other people. I do that all the time. Having inner conversations with people. This stuff, we are all very connected. So it's not about exactly controlling the thoughts. It's about understanding your part and your power in receiving the thoughts and knowing what to do with them. So, going into free will, I hope that this is making sense for you guys. Going into free will, the question is often asked, what should be done between the assumption of the wish fulfilled and its realization? Nothing. It is a delusion that, other than assuming the feeling of the wish fulfilled, you can do anything to aid the realization of your desire. You think that you can do something, you want to do something, but actually you can do nothing. The illusion of the free will to do is but ignorance of the law of assumption, upon which all action is based. Everything happens automatically. All that befalls you, all that is done by you, happens. Your assumptions, conscious or unconscious, direct all thought and action to their fulfillment. Free will actually means freedom to select any idea you desire. This also ties in with the law of liberty that Neville Goddard discusses, that you have the ability to choose the thoughts that you want to think, which is what I was saying with, when you meditate, when you have access to certain thoughts, you get to choose the ones that you put more emphasis on. It's not like you need to combat with yourself or suck in the thoughts. I used to think that I needed to do that like I couldn't have a negative thought or that I couldn't doubt or worry. You can have thoughts that oppose. It's just that as long as you know that you have the ability to entertain the thoughts that you want. Um, so, yeah, I'll say this again. Free will actually means freedom to select any idea you desire. By assuming the idea already to be a fact, it is converted into reality. Beyond that, free will ends and everything happens in harmony with the concept assumed. So, quite literally, if you are assuming something to be true and you believe that it is a fact and you know that it's a fact because you've been watching all of these videos. Oh, hi, Germany. Hi. Hi, Katrin. So when you are saying, okay, well, this is what I'm going to focus on, and I'm going to focus on it because I have access to it. The fact that I have access to this thought means that somewhere, somehow, it can manifest, and you just keep focusing on that thought, then it'll manifest. You would not be able to think something that you cannot achieve. You can't. It's that is actually impossible. You cannot think of something that you do not know. So if it's in your awareness, if you've experienced it, if you know that it's possible, or if you have the imagination to think of it, this is how airplanes, this is how cars, these are how all of these inventions are made. Because a thought comes to the person's mind, they have access to receive that thought, and they keep thinking about that thought until it materializes, and then they take action. Oh, Morocco. Wow. I have some friends that have visited Morocco. I've never been, but that's really cool. Hi. Um, so free will is a very interesting topic. It's not like, and another thing too, it's not when it comes to manifesting specific people, when it comes to manifesting like a romance or even just friends in general, some people will think that they're manipulating others, which I find very interesting because people that don't know about the law of assumption are doing it naturally. So it's like we've been doing this. We've been doing this since birth. Um, we naturally are being attracted to people that are going to help us, that are going to teach us, that are in alignment with us. So if you have the intention to meet somebody that's going to serve this role in your life, that is the most natural thing in the world. And in certain religions, I mean, for Christianity, it's called prayer. You ask for these things and then you will be given them. So never feel bad about what you're desiring, and if your thoughts are, if they're getting crazy. I mean, there is a certain point where you do want to ask yourself, what are you predominantly focused on? But as far as like those those thoughts, I know that you guys know what I'm talking about. Those thoughts that just come in and they just don't even feel like you would say them, or maybe they do, maybe they're disguised, but they're lies. They just come to you and you're like, but this is what I want. I'm trying to think of this, but then I keep having these thoughts. It's like just knowing that those thoughts are not you. You are not your thoughts. You are not even your own body. This is all temporary. So I hope that this helps and that this provides clarity. I will be taking questions now. So if you guys have any questions, I would love to answer them and help you guys with any type of manifestations that you're wanting. I really like putting honey in my coffee lately. It's been very nice. And I will give you guys a moment to ask questions or any comments. How do you guys feel about this? How do you guys feel about the topic? Because sometimes it may be a little bit like overwhelming, right? It's like, just tell me what to do. Just tell me how to manifest. And the thing is that you can manifest in more than one way. So finding that way that makes the most sense to you. For me, that looks like imagining before bed. I think that visuals are the strongest. I'm working on manifesting this woman at my new job as a best friend. Oh, that's lovely. Okay, I think well, that's totally possible. I mean, she's already in your experience, right? Well, I'm assuming. So just getting to a state where I would definitely check your I would definitely check your inner conversation with her. So I would start having conversations with her now, and I would have that in your mind, and just have fun with it. Always, always have fun with it. Okay, have fun with these inner conversations, and I'd give that like 3 days. I feel like that's very easy to do. I feel like all of this stuff is very easy to do. That's why sometimes I feel like I'm just repeating myself like a parrot, but that's really fun. Best friends are fun. I just hung out with my best friend. We went on a walk in the park. I write them down and I can see it as I write. Yeah. Writing it down is very powerful. And that's a really great point, Mike, because so there's more than one way to manifest, right? Some people like to really get into it and either do subliminals or do tracks. Um, I know that even myself, like if I feel very motivated or inspired to do something, I'll go down that route too. But when you write something, when you just write it once and you say, yeah, everything that I write down, if you have the assumption that everything I write down comes true, I only need to write it once. You can literally just write it once, let it go, and it'll manifest. I mean, the things that I've manifested by doing that and going back to that paper months later, couple weeks later, even a year later, and how all of them manifest, it's pretty powerful. It's really all that you need to do, but of course there's more than one way to manifest. So, yeah, it's very fun. Oh, I think it just went away. Any advice to completely change your appearance? Okay, completely. Just like I'm trying to manifest a specific person. First, the opposite showed up in the 3D because he unfollowed me on Instagram 2 weeks after he texted me that he dreamed of. Right. Okay. Yes. So okay. So I'm gonna go to Cloudy's response about completely changing appearance. Um, so I would first start off with telling yourself strong self-concept affirmations. Um, so here's the thing about this. It's very not impossible, but it's difficult to get from here to there, right? It's hard to be in the problem and then also focus at the solution. The problem and the solution are different vibrations. So when we start talking about completely changing yourself, which um, I'm sure you don't need to do, but if you're talking about completely changing your hair color, your eye color, all of that stuff is possible. It's just like getting that self concept that where you are right now is okay. Because in order to bring it into you, like a vortex, right? So you're the vortex and you're wanting to like create this new identity, right? You're going to need to start telling yourself the things that you would be had you already changed. So, for example, when I was losing all the weight, like I would envision myself, I would look in the mirror and it was weird. Like I would look in the mirror and I wouldn't even see my face. Like I would see my face as I wanted it to be. So if you're wanting to change your eye color to blue, there are other ways. There are easier ways. The path of least resistance, things like contacts. People go to surgery. There's like lots of different ways to manifest things in a shorter amount of time. But you get the point. You're going to look at yourself the way that you want to look, and that will not involve negative self-talk. There's like your train of thought is going to be very different. So when you start looking at yourself in the mirror now, I want you to see yourself the way that you prefer and then really focus on that. Even when I was probably like 30 or 40 pounds bigger than this, and I would look in the mirror and I would see myself very slim. I would see myself very slim. And then I would have mental conversations with people that really loved me. So like my mom, my dad, I'd have mental conversations with them and they're telling me like, "Oh, girl, you look so good. What did you do?" Or like, "Oh, wow, your waist looks so small." Or like whatever body part you're wanting to change like, "Oh my gosh, I have never seen your hair this long. It's so long." Now in my reality, people tell me that my hair is long when my hair would not grow past here. And this is only like two or 3 years since COVID, like 2 or 3 years worth of, and it's like pretty long now, but I could not get my hair past a certain point. So you just have to envision it and really tell yourself the thoughts that you would have. If I am not my body, how do I talk, instruct it in a specific direction, like health? Yeah. I'll get to that. So, yeah, you're just gonna envision yourself having that, and then it'll change your thoughts because that emotion of self-love is going to propel you to think certain thoughts. Going back to, I think, I'm not sure if I can check old. Yes, I can. I'm trying to manifest a specific person. First, the opposite showed up in the 3D because he unfollowed me on Instagram. Okay, well, he unfollowed you on Instagram because he just couldn't take seeing you all the time because he's just really into you. So we're going to start off there. And then if you're wanting to get contact again, then I would start having mental conversations that are in your favor. 2 weeks after he texted me that he dreamed of me. See, look at that. So he's receiving it and you're seeing movement. It's just that you have to keep on with that movement. So it, I tell you, it is all about perspective and put it in a way that makes sense to you. If you can Yeah, if you can convince yourself, like, be honest, don't give yourself BS. Put it in a way that makes sense to you. Like, "Oh, he unfollowed me for 2 weeks, and then he had a dream about me, and he contacted me, like, he's obviously obsessed, like, he obviously can't take it. Like, stop being so obsessed with me." Like, y but convince yourself, like, don't let it be something that you can't get behind. Change your perspective in a way that when you say it and when you say it to yourself, it actually makes sense. If you actually don't believe something like that, then you could be like, oh, okay, well, he took 2 weeks off because he has some things to get through. And people that really don't care about another person, they don't go out of their way to unfollow. Like, you can, there's other things that you can say to yourself if that doesn't resonate with you. But you're already seeing movement, so I would just continue doing what feels best for you. Yes, of course, Cloudy. Yeah, I hope that helps. It helped me. It helped me a lot. While manifesting my SP, I can't stop thinking about 3P. She suddenly okay. Um, I mean, when it comes to 3Ps, I've my mindset on that is very nonchalant. I think all of this stuff can be resolved with self-concept. Because if it's a 3P, then it's like she loves me too. Like, she's in my experience because she's obsessed with me too, you know? Of course, Isabel. So if you are in so let's say you're like really thinking about this 3P, you're thinking about like, oh, she's taking this person away from me. It's like, not necessarily, of course, there's, and this is a completely different topic, the whole everyone is you pushed out, which I I have not I have not done a video on that for a reason, but it's very complex. But let's say the SP or the 3P is now like doing something with your specific person and it's really getting to you, I would remove yourself from whatever type of, if it's social media, if you need to remove yourself out of the equation to just get your mind right and then start telling yourself a new story. I think it's always better to just remove yourself from the situation, start at the baseline, neutralize the situation. Like, it's not that bad. People get into relationships all the time. People get in and out of relationships all the time. People get married and divorced all the time. Um, it's never too late. So just start there at that neutral stance of like, it's fine, everything's going to be fine, and then I would start working your way, just like having mental conversations with the SP, with the SP, not the third party, and saying, like, he could be telling you, you could be hearing him tell you things like, yeah, it just didn't really work out, or, every time that I was with that person, I was thinking of you. Um, my life just hasn't really been as wonderful. Like, you are this, this, and that. And here's the thing with all of these mental conversations, they are changing you. I cannot emphasize this enough. They are always going to be changing you and how you feel about yourself. So, again, tell yourself something that you can get on board with, because at the end of the day, it needs to feel like yes, that's right. Like, oh, okay, you're back again. What took you so long? Like, oh, look at this. Look at what we have here. I know that I'm the best. I know. Hello. Hello. Hi. So, a lot of this stuff can be resolved with self concept and just giving yourself the adoration that you need and that you are worthy of. Because once you do that, then it's like a third party doesn't, like, so what? Like, okay, that's nice. I mean, okay. I hope that this helps. Inner dialogue is very important. The conversations that you're having with him, you can have a conversation with that person. And I wouldn't focus on the 3P very much because people go in and out of others' lives all the time. Okay, me and SP, long distance, but our conversation went dry. He isn't flirting or putting efforts. What should I perceive it? However you want to perceive it. I mean, I've had people that will be dating and then, um, you don't hear from them, but you're so busy doing other things that you're not really focused on that. And then all of a sudden they pop back in and they're like, what can I do for you? How high can I jump? So it really is about just getting yourself to a point where you're not even noticing like it dragging off, if that makes sense. You're getting yourself to a point where your day is busy. You're good whether you talk to them or not. And I know that this is so hard, especially when it comes to specific people or like the romantic side of specific people, because your brain is wired, our animalistic brain is wired to really focus in on this, right? To focus in, and we like I don't know what it is. I don't know if it's the dopamine, the serotonin, whatever those chemicals are. It really focuses on like this obsessive like feeling, right? You kind of and that doesn't feel good, you know. If you've ever noticed like somebody that really, really, really wants you, it's like it's not really. It's kind of like repelling. You don't really enjoy that. So it is about getting yourself to a space where you're like, okay, this is happening over here. I'm going to do what I like doing because this is my flow. This is my flow state. And eventually they'll come back. They'll reach out to me when they need to. And just telling yourself things that make sense to you, one, that makes sense to you, that you can be on board with, and then two, just like living your life as best as you can. Because when people drop off or when people aren't as consistent, then it's your job to think things in your mind like, oh, well, that's okay. Like I know what I deserve. I deserve consistency. I believe that it's normal for my lover or whoever it might be, I believe that it's normal for my SP to contact me every day. Or I believe that it's very natural for me to receive this type of attention. When you get into, and there's different levels to this, right? Like some people want a text message, some people want a house and cars, and like some people, yeah, it's like, yeah. So it just depends on exactly what you're asking for. Um, Maybe what you're asking for, I've said this in my past live, if it feels like it's too stale or you're not having fun, the conversations in your mind internally aren't what you want, or like it's just not good anymore, like you're tired of it, then I would go bigger. That's just my advice. I would say that you're not you're not thinking think bigger, think better. Um, your imagination is very strong and it's very vast, so I would encourage you to think of something that's more creative and like really get in there. Mm, okay. If I'm not my body, how do I talk, instruct it in a specific direction, like health, look? Well, I mean, you're in your body, but um, what I'm trying to say is that your spirit, like your consciousness, like once you pass, you're not gonna have you're not gonna have this body anymore, right? So I'll get back to the question. So sorry. Hold on a second. Okay, so when it comes to like instructing your body or health wise, it's about seeing yourself in a new light. So let's say you are bedridden, like you can't even get out of bed, right? I would start focusing in on what it feels like to be healthy again. And we have seen this time and time again. I worked in oncology systems, so like people that have cancer, and then we treat them with radiotherapy, and then they are free of cancer. It really is about having hope. There's a if you are down in the dumps and you literally are just like there's no out for me, then it's not helping you. It's the very strong-minded people, the ones that lean on God, the ones that, you know, can lean on anything. Usually religion is a very good foundation for people, but when you're like, okay, God is going to help me, God is going to get me through this, or you can just say, hey, I'm going to let go. I'm going to give this to the universe. I'm going to see myself in this light. And you start acting and behaving in a way that is different. It's a different vibration than you feeling bedridden. Those strong-minded people, they get through it. It's astounding to see. And I've seen that firsthand. Miriam, do you have any advice on how to manifest your biggest dreams? Elon Musk type of life, for example. My conscious mind keeps fighting me by telling me that it's impossible and to give up on them. Well, it's not impossible because, like, we see Elon Musk all over the place. So it's definitely possible. I mean, if he can do it, then you can do it. I would ask yourself why you are wanting to have that lifestyle because it's not really about the how, it's about why. So if your why is strong enough, then it's inevitable. Um, Neville Goddard has talked about this too, and so has Napoleon Hill. They talk about this intense yearning desire to be different than who you are. And that comes into play, especially when you're wanting to manifest a life. But I read biography, not autobiography, the biography on Elon Musk, and a lot of his motivation, it's very interesting. His motivation is it's very self-oriented. And I don't get into zodiac charts and all that stuff, but I think that his the way that he's like very service oriented. So if you see a problem and you are working on solving it, then it helps people. And naturally, when you are serving and when you are charitable, then that brings a lot of abundance because you're not so much focusing on yourself. You're focusing on the good of others. Can you give any advice when your SP has hurt you a lot and you're trying to detach from that event and emotion to create another version of your SP? I dealt with this. Oh goodness. Yeah, I'm busy most of the time, but it's like okay. Okay, so I'm gonna answer this one question. Okay. I dealt with this a lot, dealing with detachment from past events, right? Because once you get burned by the stove, you know that it's hot and you know not to touch the stove again, right? So how do you envision your specific person being different and then also you being different? I'm going to give you my personal experience because that's all that I can go by. So if it's different for you, or if you can find other testimonials of people doing it in a different way, then I would highly advise that. But for me, I needed to get to a place where that person was no longer in front of me. I'm just being honest with you. So that person was removed from my experience, and I gave myself like a couple of months to where the the constant reminder of the experience, whatever the trauma was or whatever, I wasn't dealing with that head on. Like every day it was a constant focus. So if you are able to do that, and this is just what I did. I'm not even giving you advice. I'm just telling you exactly what I did. So what I did was I removed the person and then I had to forgive myself because they were an example. They were a reflection of what I was dealing with internally. So Neville Goddard has talked about this. Everyone is you pushed out. It's very, it can be very sticky and complex. But this idea that people are doing things in your situation or in your life to show you who you are and to like help you grow, it's it's can sometimes not be as wonderful, or there's a lot of things, there's a lot of like holes, right, in this concept that you can go through. But for the sake of this circumstance, I needed to forgive myself and say that these are the things that I deserve from now on, and this is what I will only accept in my life. So you have to be very clear about what exactly you want, and you have to I essentially let this person go. So I let this person go and I said, the person that's right for me will do X, Y, and Z, and I will be treated in a certain way. This is the behavior that I will accept. And if it's not that way, then unfortunately they can't experience my presence. So when I got to that point, the person reached out to me eventually. I want to say this was like after 2 weeks. The person reached out to me, completely different, completely different. And I was not focused on them. I was focused on myself and what I would allow. They were completely different. It was a 180. And I remember interacting with him and being like, "Are you okay?" I was like, "Is everything okay? Are you good? You seem different." He was very different. It was a 180, and I was like, this works. This self concept stuff works because when you start focusing in on what you will and will not accept, and the things that you expect from the universe and from God, and how you feel like you should be treated, then people will shift in your life. Because here's what's really interesting: there's different versions of yourself, right? You can think about yourself in a bad mood, you can think about yourself in a great mood. You can also think about times in your life where you're just like, I can't even believe I did that, or wow, I was so cool during this phase of my life, or whatever the case may be. Since there's different versions of yourself, there is always going to be different versions of everyone else too, right? So when you are activating that version of yourself, it will only activate that version for everyone else too. So you've activated it. You are the main source, and then the reflection of everyone else has to match you. It all comes down with you. So whatever you are acting like internally, it gets reflected, and that very, nasty, traumatic version of that person will be completely gone because you are no longer entertaining it anymore, and you're over it. You don't even, it's like, but for me, again, this is just what happened for me. I had to focus in on self concept and like what exactly I wanted to experience and like what version of myself I wanted to be. And then I also had to forgive myself because I was like beating myself up for a very long time. And I think that's why I didn't manifest as quick as it did, because I was so focused on like things in the past that I could have done better and like putting myself into victim mentality. Excuse me, putting myself into victim mentality or feeling like I should have or I could have done this. Start where you are right now in the present moment. The past is an imaginal act, by the way. It's not happening right now. So you're just holding on to emotions and you're holding on to past imaginal acts. So now it's time to create a new imaginal act of who you are, what you'll accept, and that person, they'll feel it. Trust it. They will feel it and they will come to you. Okay, let's see right here. How do you ignore your current job when you want to manifest millions out of thin air without a job? Mm, well, I would say, hmm, is there any way that you can think better about the job? Is there any way that you could possibly change how you're interacting with the current job? Because again, it's not like you can go from here to here. You can't just like there's a process and there's like a shift that you have to do internally, right? Because the problem and the solution don't exist in the same frequency. So in order to get yourself in that position, yes, of course, you're welcome. So in order to get yourself in that position where you are, let's say, manifesting millions, or you win the lottery, or whatever the case may be, you have to you have to change internally and start seeing yourself like the rose colored glasses need to be on when you go to work. If you decide to keep going to work, and they need to be like, yep, this is the job. I love this job. I love this job. Maybe if you want to repeat that to yourself before you go to bed or when you wake up in the morning, and just say, I love my job. I'm so thankful for the job that I have. I can't even fathom like how amazing this job is, and really feeling it internally. So the subconscious mind does not care. It does not care the information that you're feeding it. It's only listening to you and how you're responding to the information. So going back to the thoughts and emotions, you can have thoughts running through your mind all day. It's about the thoughts that you're giving the most awareness to and the most emotional attachment, right? Like somebody could say something weird to me, and or a stranger could come up to me and be like, I don't ever want to talk to you again, like you're not my friend, and it wouldn't bother me. Like I would think about it, I'd be like, wow, I wonder why they said that to me, but it wouldn't bother me because I'm like, I'm not giving it any emotional attachment, therefore it's not going to stay in my brain for very long. So um getting yourself to an emotional state, I do say things like that, I just feel so delusional saying it. Yeah. So I think that's what this channel is. My cat is, she's stretching. I think that's, well, I know that's what this channel is for, because the delusional aspect of things is just, it's just the lack of knowledge of how these things are created, right? That's it. It's like there's this delusional aspect just because you may not understand how exactly it's all manifesting. So when you understand that it's manifesting through you and you're the operant power, and the fact that you can think it means that it exists. The fact that you can think it means that it exists. So if you keep putting awareness on it, it will manifest. That alone, this information will help you to just keep focusing in on it, using repetition, using the emotions, and then one day you won't have it, the next day you will. I mean, we've heard stories about the overnight success, about people, like, doing something overnight. It's not that it's overnight, guys. It's that they've been practicing it in their mind for so long that by the time it happens, it's like, "Oh, one day you don't have it, and then the next day you do." It's and your life can change in a day. It can change in an hour, it can change in a minute. This stuff happens all the time for people. Okay, I will take one more question and then I will be off. And I hope that that's been clarifying. If you guys have any questions about what I was talking about with thoughts and emotions, please let me know because I want to make sure that it's very clear and that I'm making sense. And I love that you guys are from so many different parts of the world. That is so exciting. Love that. Yeah, you've got this. I mean, I would ask yourself why. I would just keep asking yourself why. Do you have any down days where you don't feel great? Sorry for down question. Oh my gosh, no, it's can I heal my mother? Absolutely. Absolutely. One of the affirmations that I use for my family that I really just love seeing the results of is I come from a wealthy family. And let's say it's something like trauma, then I would start seeing her as not that way. So, like, even when they talk about Jesus and in the Bible, when he was healing and, helping other people manifest, he was not seeing their flaws. He was seeing them as perfect. He was seeing them as the God that lives in all of us, right? So he was just like, yeah, I see you as brand new. So like his faith and his belief in other people would cause other people to believe so strongly in him, right? So with the lady wanting to touch the hem of his skirt or whatever the case may be, she touched it and then she was healed. She was healed because of her faith in him, but it was her faith. It was her faith. It was her faith, and it was her faith in him that was so strong to where when she touched it, then he was like, yeah, because he would see people as they truly are. He would see people in the true love form. So, especially with moms, I feel like this will be the easiest thing for you. Seeing her as beautiful, seeing her as like fully restored, that'll help so much. Seeing her comfortable. So, if it's comfort, seeing her comfortable, listening to her voice. I'm sure you know her voice and like her vocal cords. Just hearing her say something lovely to you, like "Ah, this is the best I've ever felt." I did that when I was living with my parents. They coincidentally both lost weight. Like my dad was on TV for it because he lost a ton of weight, and coincidentally, I mean, they were doing completely different diets. They were doing completely different exercises, but they both lost weight at the same time when I was living with them, coincidentally, because I was seeing them in the way that I wanted to see them. So in my mind, I was seeing them as people that like really took care of themselves, that really prioritized how they felt, that really felt refreshed, that they felt awakened. Like you have the power to do that. I hope that you know that. So just keep seeing your mother that way, and it'll happen. And you have less resistance. I feel like us as people, we're so good at manifesting for other people because we don't have as much resistance. Okay, so I'm going to go back to shadow. Do you have any down days where you don't feel great all the time? I mean, it's less and less now, but I used to all the time. Yeah. And I think the biggest part is like making sure, sorry, my battery's getting low. I think the biggest thing is being okay with that. Like just being okay with sitting in that emotion, because the more that you try to fight the emotion is when it just gets more intense, right? So if you're just like, okay, fine, like it's going to be what it is. It's going to be what it is. Okay, fine. And then you let it sit there, then it's like all of a sudden it has no power anymore. It has no power anymore. So it's not about not having a bad day. It's actually okay to be angry, to be upset. It's okay. You can manifest during those emotions too. So Yeah, and a lot of times, I was talking about this in my last live, talking about this rubber band effect that Bashar is known for talking about. He talks about the rubber band, right? And imagine yourself pulling on this rubber band, and you are the rubber band, and you're going deeper and deeper into more negative feelings. The more that you pull yourself into this zone, eventually, when you give up and you allow yourself to feel better about yourself, then you spring forth and you go that much further into the light. Um, it's not it's not an issue to be sad, right? It's not an issue, but just maintaining in that state and creating that consistency is why it feels so heavy, because by nature and by what we know about vibration, depression, sadness, shame, all of that stuff, it's very slow. It's a very, very slow vibration. That's why you could be crying for 10 minutes and it feels like a full day. Those deep emotions, the heavier ones, they feel very slow, even if it even if it hasn't been a long time. And same going for the other way around. If you're feeling super super happy and you feel very joyful, those feelings are fast. Like happiness is fleeting. That joy that you just have to like. It's like this constant. You really have to keep up with it. So um, yeah, I would not get down on yourself if you're feeling down. I would, in fact, just like let it be what it needs to be, um, and just know that you will eventually get through it. And like when you get through it, it's going to propel you into a better state. So, and you can manifest anything that you want in any state. Like you don't have to be happy all the time. You know. All right, I think that's everything for today. I really enjoy talking to you guys, and um, just know that I'm always manifesting for you guys too. Like everybody that's on my channel and that all you guys liking and subscribing and all that stuff. Like I know that this information is very powerful. So I hope that you guys feel its power and that you guys can feel empowered to not let circumstances get in the way, or to not let your thoughts, dictate who you are, because you are much more than your thoughts. You're much more than your body. You have free will to choose whatever type of life you want, and you can do that. And yeah, I appreciate you guys so much. I'll see you guys in the next one. Okay, bye.